good, YouTube? This is your boy Aaron, and I'm back for another video. And today, I want to talk about Adam Silver. And I want to talk about if Adam Silver is a good commissioner or not in the NBA. I discussed this during a podcast episode with Brian. I didn't really like how it went. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys my thoughts, and then I'm going to give it to Brian during the podcast episode, and you'll hear his thoughts as well. But without further ado, this topic about Adam Silver. We need to have a conversation just with the state of the affairs going on with the NBA. So many things are going on right now. Just the lack of viewership. The viewership is dropping, just going off of what I've seen so far. The NBA Cup viewership is going down. The ratings has been going down 48, according to Colin Cowherd. The rating has been going down 48% in the last 12 years. Ticket sales are plummeting for the NBA Cup in Vegas. It said it went from $237 on average purchase price to now $98, and it's still dropping. According to Frank Michael Smith on Twitter, he's also a reporter as well. ESPN viewership is down 28%. NBA Cup viewership is down 10%, and the 2024 playoff viewership was down 12%. So obviously this is a problem going on, and this is due to Adam Silver. Just the lack of whatever he is doing right now, and I'll break it down right now what is exactly going on. Now, obviously, a lot of people online have their own theories. A lot of people online have their own opinions on what they think is going on with the lack of viewership in the NBA. Oh, it's too many games. Oh, it's illegal streams. Oh, it's too many threes. I'm gonna break it down like this. It's many factors going on with the NBA's lack of viewership. Number one, I believe it's the play style of the NBA right now. I talked about it on my previous video when it comes to how to save the NBA. The amount of 3-point attempts for every team, the emphasis on the 3-point shot has been a detrimental effect on the quality of the product. I say that because compare this year to 10 years ago, it is a seismic difference in the way that these NBA teams are playing. The Warriors in 2014-2015, they won the championship. They were 7th in 3-point attempts per game. 7th. They weren't even number 1, and people were complaining, oh, they shoot so many threes. They're only attempting 31% of threes per game. You compare that to today's game, the 15th team is attempting that much. The 15th team is attempting that much. The Celtics are attempting 57% of their shots are three-pointers. 57%. It's ridiculous. And there's so many teams that are in the 40%. I just think that the NBA is in an uncomfortable position right now. They don't know what to do. Adam Silver doesn't know what to do. Well, it's clear as day what needs to be done, but he hasn't done it. Adam Silver, the problem with Adam Silver is he has done a lot, obviously, but he has not addressed some of the most important things that are problems and issues in the NBA. He's addressing everything else around, but not addressing the main issues, and then coming on television acting confused, acting like we tried, when that's not the case. I compare the NBA and Adam Silver to what's going on with Roger Goodell in the NFL. Now, you can say whatever you want to say about Roger Goodell, just how he has just went wrong when it comes to suspensions, allowing certain players back in the league that have done some heinous acts. I'm talking about been in 20 different women coming out with civil cases against a single player, and he still is allowed to come back and get paid over $200 million fully guaranteed. Stuff like that he has allowed in the NFL, and yet the NFL is still breaking records in viewership. The Packers versus Lions, I think, broke a record on Amazon in terms of streaming viewership. The NFL is still growing while the NBA is declining. And it's easily, we could point to the play style, the fact that all these teams are mimicking each other. All these teams are playing the same way because of the emphasis on the 3-point shot. And then we have other things as well, obviously. How they schedule the games is a problem. The Thunder and the Celtics game that will be played in January, which will be their first meeting, is going to be on League Pass. It's going to be on a Sunday, and it's going to be at 3 o'clock. These are the top 2 teams in the NBA, and they're going to be playing on League Pass and not on nationally televised games. That's another thing that's a problem, is the scheduling of games that Adam Silver continues to get wrong every single season. I understand that these arenas, there's some logistics, they have schedules going on for certain games, certain events. It makes things a bit complicated. But you have to work around that, especially for these 2 teams that coming in were projected to be the top 2 teams in their respective conferences. There should be no excuse why the Celtics and Thunder are playing on League Pass. There is no excuse why the Thunder shouldn't have one of the top nationally televised teams in the NBA this year, when they're projected to be the top team in the West. And yet they can't figure out a way to market these players and these teams. I also want to talk about what the NBA and Adam Silver are doing. They're going the streaming route. They signed a deal with NBC and Amazon to stream these games. But what they're going to find out is that a lot of these fans, or casual fans, or just people that may be interested in getting a game of basketball, they're not going to buy those subscriptions. You know why? Because they don't care about the product. How are you going to go to the streaming route when these fans that you believe you have don't even care about your own product? What the NFL has done, and why they have successively succeeded at the streaming route, is because the NFL fans care so much about the NFL product, because the NFL has done a great job of catering to the fans. The rules, the way it's being played, the marketing has just worked. While with the NBA, they seem to not really understand what the fans want. They don't seem to really have a grasp of what exactly people are asking for. And Adam Silver just doesn't seem like he's the type of person that is willing to make drastic moves. I just mentioned the 3-point line. He has to do something about that. He has to, because it's becoming so bad. They are exploiting the 3-point line so bad to a point that it's getting embarrassing. It's getting really embarrassing, and they're laughing at his face about it. And he's just sitting there, sitting on his ass, doing nothing, talking about the All-Star game, talking about, expansion. He's thinking about the wrong stuff. Expanding more teams in the league, what is that going to do? Oh, we got so much talent that deserves to be on the roster. What is that going to do? That's just going to present more problems than need to be. Expanding a team. Oh, we got to go to Seattle. Oh, we got to go to Las Vegas. How is that going to help the league? That's not going to help the league at all. He's thinking about the wrong things. Oh, the All-Star game. We're going to change the format of the All-Star game. The NFL, the Pro Bowl means nothing. And the NFL is still getting hella viewership. You have to do something about the play style of the game, bro. You have to change something up. You're thinking about the wrong things, changing the format of the All-Star game. How about eliminating the skills competition? You're thinking about, change the format of the All-Star game, like that's going to do something. Like that's going to incentivize players to care more. No, it's not. Thinking, let's have 100,000 on the line for their players' charity. Like, that's not going to work. It just seems like the people in that NBA office just don't have a grasp of what the fans want. They don't have an understanding of what's going on Twitter circles or in public circles about the conversation. That's what's the problem with the NBA. That's what's the problem with the commissioner. I just want to know, what has Adam Silver done to elevate the game? He has done remarkable things outside of the product on the court. But in terms of the actual product on the court, what has he done to elevate the game besides the play-in tournament? This in-season tournament is cool, but you have to go all in on it. It can't just be, hey, we're going to implement this tournament and we don't really know how to market it per se. Every other game, like I'll turn on the television, nationally televised game, and I didn't even know it was a tournament on. I'm like, oh, the court changed. It's an in-season tournament game. I didn't know that. Wow. Why not have an entire month that is just tournament games? That way, everybody knows that November or December, oh, it's tournament month. Oh, every game matters. Why not do that instead of one game is a tournament game for this team? Oh, next game is just a regular game. That's not a tournament game. Why? Why would you do that? It makes no sense. College basketball, I have my problems with college basketball, but one thing I will say is that they have these tournaments earlier in the year. Like they'll have them, like I think right now it's like around November. They had some like tournament going on for like different conferences, and each game was a tournament game. Now there wasn't a whole lot of significance to it besides the fact that if you're playing a ranked team and maybe you're a ranked team or you're not a ranked team, you beat that team, then you'll possibly be ranked higher. That's all you're really getting out of it, which is definitely important because you want to be ranked, you want to have a high seed for March Madness, but there is some significance to it because it's just the ranking system of college. The NBA, they have to find some sort of, there needs to be something that incentivizes these tournaments. There has to be some stakes involved into it. There's no stakes. It's just the players get $500,000. Well, what does the casual fan get in return? You're always talking about what the players get. What does the casual fan get in return for these tournament games? The teams that they root for, they don't get an extra win. They don't get an automatic bid to the play-in. They don't get, like, what do they get? What, like, seriously, the casual fan is continuing to get ignored by the commissioner and by the NBA. We are the last on the list. It seems like, while the NFL, they figure out a way to cater to the casual fan. They added an extra week to the NFL season. Now, obviously, that's not great for the player. Well, besides the money part, but that's not great for the player. But it's great for the NFL fan because we get an extra regular season week. Adam Silver's not catering to the casual fan, man. He's not catering to the casual fan, and that's the problem. And that's why they're losing viewership. And that's why the streaming, when they go to Peacock and when they go to Amazon, it's not going to help. Because people are not going to just buy Amazon for the NBA because they don't care about the product. You have to make people care about your product in order for them to buy, to use their money to buy streaming services. Because streaming services are expensive. But the NFL fans, they're going to do it. They're going to pay for NFL Red Zone. They're going to pay for NFL Sunday Ticket because the product is good and they care about the product. Why should we care about the NBA product when you don't want to market your stars, your future stars? When you don't want to market Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is going on a tear right now, who has the number one seed, who's in the MVP conversation. When you don't want to market the young rising stars that are going to carry your league for the next 10 years. I just want to know, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we wasting our time on? And it just seems like Adam Silver doesn't know what he's doing. So miss me with all that. He's a good commissioner. I will say he has done some good work. But in terms of taking care of the most important part of the product, which is the catering to the casual fan, he has failed in that department. And it seems like he's going to continue to fail in that department. He has been very fortunate to ride the coattails of David Stern's NBA when he left. Because when David Stern left, Adam Silver had LeBron in his prime, Steph entering his prime, Kevin Durant in his prime, Russell Westbrook in his prime, James Harden in his prime, Paul George in his prime, Anthony Davis entering his prime. All these guys entering or in their prime. And the game was amazing. But then Kevin Durant goes to Golden State. Competition is pretty much screwed over. And now, what are we doing? What are we doing? Now it's a copycat league, and it's gone downhill. David Stern wouldn't have had this. R.I.P. David Stern. R.I.P. Rest in peace. David Stern wouldn't have been going for this. And lastly, because the NBA has been going downhill, guess what happened? The NFL has taken over Christmas Day. That used to be an NBA day. Now it's an NFL day. They have a deal with Netflix. On Christmas Day, they have the Texans versus the Ravens. And the halftime show is Beyonce? Where do you think everybody's going to go on Christmas Day? Where do you think people are going to watch? The NFL product or the NBA product? We all know the answer to that. They're going to be watching the NFL. The NBA, Adam Silver, they looking like Drake right now. And the NFL is looking like Kendrick Lamar. Just bullying you dudes. Oh, you thought you can compete with me? Pfft, please, watch this. They had one Christmas Day game. It was a Texans versus Steelers game. Two pretty mediocre teams at the time. Up against, I think it was the Clippers versus the Lakers that one year. This is like, I think 2020 or maybe. And they did good numbers on it. And they said, you know what? Let's continue to make Christmas Day games. Let's continue to do Christmas Day games. And ever since, they have been blowing the NBA out of the water. They have been cooking the NBA, pushing them to the side. And David Stern was still the commissioner. He would not let that happen. Adam Silver, we talk about, people talk about, oh, LeBron ain't a stone cold killer. I'm looking at Adam Silver. I don't think he's a stone cold killer either. David Stern was. Adam Silver, you looking soft in these streets, bro. I'm just saying. What you going to do about it? All right, that's my thoughts. Now we're going to get to Brian's thoughts about my opinion on it. And then I'll see you guys later. First of all, I want to get your opinion. Do you think Adam Silver is a good commissioner?
No.
Okay.
I think he's good enough to where people who don't really care about the league is not going to complain about it. But people that actually been paying attention to how the league has been developing or regressing in some cases throughout the years, they would say he's not that good of a commissioner.
Just let me be me.